17 of the fantasy football season, and right now it's championship time for most fantasy owners, unless you play the odd Week 18 matchup for the championship. But anyway, here's a few wide receivers I have as sleeper options, and at the time of recording this video, none of these players have been put on the safety or protocol list. The first guy, Lazard of the Green Bay Packers. So Lazard here, in my opinion, he's better than Valdez-Scantling as the number 2 wide receiver behind Davante Adams in this offense here for the Green Bay Packers. So the last few games here for Lazard, he's definitely come up and put up some good numbers. Week 14 versus the Bears, a carry, 14 yards, 6 catches, 75 yards and a touchdown. Week 15 at Baltimore, carry, 5 yards, 2 catches, 23 yards, a down game. But last week in Week 16 versus the Browns, 1 carry, 13 yards, 2 catches, 45 yards and a touchdown. So Lazard this week, a great matchup on Sunday Night Football versus division rival the Minnesota Vikings, who give up the most fantasy points to wide receivers on the season. Lazard right now, he's widely available in 72% of fantasy leagues. And I think in this ball game, once again, 30 or 40 yards for him. He's going to find the end zone. And this definitely could be a shootout like it was early in the season between these two division rivals, where surprisingly in that one, the Packers lost 34-31 at Minnesota. So this week here, I think Lazard has a decent ball game. And if you play with obviously a flex or 3-receiver league, he's definitely a good sleeper option this week. The next wide receiver I have as sleeper options, Rondale Moore of the Arizona Cardinals. So we know DeAndre Hopkins, he's out for the regular season here. And Rondale Moore, he's been up and down so far this season in his rookie year with the Cardinals. Right now, he's behind A.J. Green and still Christian Kirk in that offense. In the last few weeks, we haven't seen much from him. Week 14 versus the Rams, 2 carries, 11 yards, 3 catches, 5 yards. Week 15 at Detroit, a carry for 1 yard, 3 catches, 9 yards. And then Week 16 versus the Indianapolis Colts, he didn't get any work. So right here, I know this Dallas Cowboy defense has been one of the best this season in terms of fantasy football. But I still think here this Cardinal team are going to give this Cowboy defense some problem. Cowboys over the last few seasons, they definitely have problems with speed demon guys on the outside and deep ball threats and gadget guys like a Rondale Moore. So it wouldn't surprise me in this one if Moore could get 50 or 60 total yards and find the end zone, because the Cardinals here, they got to play their game more. Over the last few weeks, they haven't. And the way to attack this Cowboy defense is to spread them out and use speed guys. And that's exactly what they should do with Moore, because the Cowboys, if it's a traditional offense, with their front seven, they're going to eat you up. But if the Cardinals here spread the field with their speedy guys and get Murray out in space running the football as well on some read play options or just scrambling for yards, this is where they can make plays on Dallas. So I think more this week, we could see him make a few sneaky plays if that's going to be the game plan here for the Cardinals to try to attack this defense. And the third and final wide receiver I have as a sleeper option is Nico Collins of the Houston Texans. So right here, the Texans, I know it's been a lost season and a rebuilding year, but Nico Collins, we've seen some flashes from him this season here. And right now, I know he was the number 1 wide receiver last week in their ball game, in their blowout surprising victory versus the Chargers with Brandon Cooks, who was on the protocol list. But Cooks, he's up and he's ready to go this week here. But Collins, last 2 out of 3 weeks, he's put up some decent numbers. Week 14 versus Seattle, 5 catches, 69 yards. Week 15 at the Jacksonville Jaguars, 2 catches, 14 yards. And then last week versus the Chargers, 3 catches, 33 yards and a touchdown. So this week, a good matchup on paper at the San Francisco 49ers that give up the 9th most fantasy points to wide receivers on the season. So I think Collins here is the number 2 option in this offense with Brandon Cooks back. He could have a decent ball game, in my opinion. It's a ball game where the Texans are going to be trailing most likely early and often. And Davis Mills in this offense is going to have to throw a lot. So I think Collins in this game, if you're desperate, could put up maybe 50, 60 total yards with 4 or 5 catches. And right now, he's available in 98% of fantasy leagues. So that's a few sleeper options at the wide receiver position I have here for Week 17 of the fantasy football season.